Hi guys, how are we all doing? And welcome to another Runners Getaway video. And this time we are off to the tropics, Cairns in North Queensland. Now, these Runners Getaway videos are a little bit different from the normal race recap or race review videos I do here on the channel. The 2023 Cairns Marathon race review is already up on the channel, guys. So if you did miss that one, a link in the description, so go check that one out. But what I do like to do with these Runners Getaway videos is to just cast the net a little bit wider. So in this video, you're going to see a little bit of Cairns, you're going to see a little bit of behind the scenes at the marathon and what we got up to during the 4 days that we spent in North Queensland. So sit back, relax and enjoy the 2023 Cairns Marathon. After arriving in Cairns, we took an 8-minute taxi ride from the airport to our hotel in the city centre. And because we arrived a little bit early, we dropped our bags off and headed out for breakfast right across the road on the beautiful Cairns Esplanade. After finishing our food, we walked about 1 kilometre to the marathon race precinct to pick up our race numbers. Chilly 10 degrees when we left Brisbane this morning at 6 o'clock, but we've arrived here in Cairns, a balmy 20 odd degrees. We're here for the 2023 Cairns Marathon Festival, and as you can see, we're just here at the race precinct. Trish, Tracy and Lee picking up their numbers for tomorrow. Looks like the skies are clearing. It's going to be a warm one for the marathon tomorrow, 27 degrees.
I'm just feeling for the slack guys that pulled out.
Just heading to meet Jeffrey. Jeffrey is from Perth, Western Australia. He's one of the guys that I coach. He's come across to run the half marathon. I've never met Jeffrey in person, so it'd be good to catch up with him. We're just going to have a coffee. It was so good to finally meet Jeffrey. We've been working together for about 6 months as he continues his return to running. Unfortunately, Jeffrey missed his goal time for the half marathon the following day, but he was immensely proud and happy to be back taking part in events. I met back up with Trish, Tracy and Lee for a pre-lunch drink and then had a walk along the marina where we stopped to check out the HMAS Stalwart, which had docked in Cairns. About 30 of the crew would take part in the marathon festival the next day. Another short walk to a cafe for lunch before we headed back to the hotel to check in and have a rest, having been up since 3:30 a.m. Then it was an early dinner at an Italian restaurant at the marina before turning in for an early night. Welcome to Cairns Marathon 2023. It's just after 4:30 in the morning and we're just making our way down to the race precinct. It was another early start for race morning. We had agreed to help organisers with the setup at the start, so we were at race precinct by 4:45 a.m. After watching the marathon, half marathon and 10 kilometre starts, I then walked up and down the course filming the runners. I caught up with Trish and Tracy midway along the course. They were motivating and helping and encouraging all the runners in all events. They have become well known for their motivational exploits at races run by Atlas Events, organisers of the Cairns Marathon, having motivated at Brisbane and the Sunshine Coast Marathon events for the last few years.
Guess who we got a photo with?
Not Deke.
Yeah! Did you interview him?
No.
What? Yeah. We got photograph.
How good is this here, guys? Look at that behind me. Cracking morning here. Far North Queensland, just brilliant. If you're looking for an event, guys, that you want to come and have a bit of fun at, and if you don't mind a bit of warm weather, perfect course to attack a PB. I think the 10k winner came in under 32 minutes, so that was flying. Half marathon winner was around about 69 minutes. The course is fast, even though there are a few little twists and turns because it does sort of double back on itself a bit. But have a look at this. Like, Why wouldn't you want to come and run in a place like this? It's the middle of winter here. It's warm. You might ask why Trish and I left Cairns. When you look out there, see how beautiful that is. Well, work takes you to places all over. We've lived in a lot of places in Australia, and Cairns just being one of them. It's gorgeous up here, guys. If you ever get a chance to come up to Cairns, highly recommend it. There's another plane takes off here over Cairns. The airport is very close here at Cairns. As you can see by the planes taking off. It's a very steep takeoff out of Cairns. They leave the runway and they're basically turning straight away, so they head out overseas and they're not coming over the city area, keeping things as quiet as possible. It's a fantastic spot, Cairns. Gateway to the Barrier Reef, Cape Tribulation, Daintree, National Heritage listed, World Heritage listed, I think it is actually too. So, yeah, it's a fantastic area here, and there's so much to do. The reef, the Daintree, up to Kuranda as well. You can take a train ride all the way up the mountain, or you can go on a sky rail, so little gondolas that take you all the way up the mountain. Fantastic, and it's certainly something that you should do if you are ever visiting Cairns. How beautiful does that pool look? Or lagoon. While I was out on course, I caught up with Kristen, a great supporter of the channel. Kristen and his family had made the trip down from Weipa for the marathon, where Kristen went agonisingly close to breaking sub 3, missing that magical mark by just 46 seconds to finish 11th overall. I'm looking forward to catching up with Kristen again, hopefully in Melbourne in October, where I'm sure he is going to crack that 3-hour barrier. I stayed out on course cheering and filming the marathon runners before the shorter 5 kilometre and 2 kilometre events began later in the morning. How good is this 2K event? Lots of mums and dads out with their kids, even some mums and dads who have run the marathon and the half marathon. They're backing up to either run or walk with their kids. It's fantastic to see it. Then it was back to the finish area to watch the last of the marathoners complete their journey, and for Trish and Tracy to help those back of the pack runners across the line. It was here where I met Tim, a passionate member of the Indigenous Marathon Foundation. This is a foundation set up by Australian marathoning legend Robert De Castella several years ago, where people from Indigenous communities are given the opportunity to improve their health and lifestyle through running and to take part in some of the biggest running events around the world. These runners then return to their communities where they help to promote healthy lifestyles through good nutrition and exercise. Tim was one of about 70 IMF runners who took part in Cairns, and Deke was there to support them all. It was so inspiring to hear Tim talk about how much the IMF meant to him and the messages he was trying to provide to his community. Talking to Tim was definitely one of the highlights on the day for me. I just wish I had got Tim on camera. Race day drew to a close. We returned to our hotel room for a bit of R&R before heading out for dinner, where we got caught in a quick downpour on the way to a Vietnamese restaurant and had to take refuge in a phone box. But it was worth the 15-minute walk because the food was delicious. After dinner, we headed back to the hotel via having a nightcap at the Cairns RSL and said goodbye to Tracy and Lee, who were extending their break by heading north the next day to the Daintree. For Trish and I, we would be driving up to the Tablelands to visit my family. It wasn't quite as early a start the next morning, as we walked about 2.5 kilometres to collect our hire car at 7 a.m. We then stopped off for breakfast, returned to the hotel to collect our bags and check out before making the 80-kilometre drive to Mariba via the Kuranda range. It was good to see my mum again. It had been well over 18 months since the last time we had caught up. After spending the day with her, Trish and I returned to Cairns for our last night. We were up early again the next morning to return the hire car and make our way to the airport, where we had just enough time for breakfast before our flight home. It was our first time at the Cairns Marathon Festival, but it definitely won't be our last. We're already planning to return in 2024.